This is a story we brought you as breaking news Friday night, a traffic stop. Now putting a spotlight on the constitutional rights of citizens who can legally carry firearms.
While the JSO officer conducting the stop tried to take the driver's concealed gun, the gun went off, shooting the man in his leg. This prompted many of our insiders to start asking questions. And now a local civil rights attorney who's not affiliated with this case is weighing in.
The officer is going to have to justify her legal basis for conducting that seizure. And I don't think she has one.
News for Jack reporter Eric Avanier joining us live after speaking with an attorney who specializes in gun rights.
Eric, you're explaining there are certain things drivers should and should not do if they're ever pulled over?
Trailhand Bill, reporting live from South Florida. I wonder why the hell Eric's sitting right there in that car. Certain things drivers should and shouldn't do if they're pulled over. I wonder if he's about to give lawful advice or he's impregnated with American indoctrination rhetoric. I guess we shall see. Duval, what's up?
I'll tell you right now, if you are legally allowed to carry a firearm and you get pulled over by a police officer because of a traffic infraction versus what you don't say to the officer and what you do versus what you don't do in front of that officer could dictate the outcome of that traffic stop. Traffic infractions cause people to be pulled over by police every day, but when you're legally allowed to possess a firearm and that firearm is either stored in a glove compartment, trunk, or safely holstered and concealed behind your waistband, are you legally obligated to tell the officer who pulled you over that there is a firearm inside your vehicle?
Not in the state of Florida. In Florida, there is no obligation to inform law enforcement that you are armed with a firearm or any other weapon.
Eric Friday is a civil rights attorney who specializes in gun rights. He says, should you choose to openly tell an officer that you have a weapon in the car, never say the word gun.
Gun is something they call out to other officers when there's a problem, so I always use, if I have to disclose, I use the term firearm.
Friday also says it's never a good idea to keep your auto insurance information in a glove box with your gun. If you do, then...
Yes, you need to let the officer know that you're where you've got to reach to get your paperwork there's a gun in that same place.
Is it better at that point to let them reach in and grab it?
At that point, I'd tell them I have a firearm and ask them for their instructions.
But what should you do if you're legally armed and an officer asks you to step out of the car?
I'm going to let them know before I get out of the car, officer, I am armed, my firearm's on my right hip, but my hands are already going to be well visible and away from that area of my body.
Don't make sudden movements towards really anything.
Retired JSO Director of Investigations turned News for Jack's crime and safety analyst Tom Hackney says there are some additional steps you can take should you be legally armed and pulled over for a traffic infraction.
If you're getting pulled over, day or night, roll all four windows down so the officer can see in the car. Whether you have tinted windows or not, turn the inside light on, especially at night, and then the hands are on the wheel.
Hackney says this allows officers to feel like they have more control of the traffic stop. As for divulging information about a firearm, Friday says there was a time when it was advisable to immediately let an officer know that you have a gun in the car when asked for your license, registration, and proof of insurance. But he says now it's ill-advised unless you have either been asked to get out of the car or if the firearm is in the glove box with paperwork.
We've seen too many of these situations now. They don't all result in somebody being shot, but they result in officers overreacting, doing things like taking guns apart, unloading them, and then you're left defenseless after the officer leaves.
Now, we did reach out to JSO to try and find out why that officer felt the need to take that driver's gun. However, our request for an interview was declined because JSO said that this matter is still under investigation. Also, that body cam video, the officer's body cam video, well, that was requested through the JSO portal. However, we have found out tonight that that video is not available right now, but we're being told that it will be available pretty soon. Reporting live, Eric Avanier, Channel 4, the local station.
And Eric, whether it was Tom Hackney or Eric Friday, did you get any information? Can the officer claim that she tried to remove the driver's gun for her own safety? Is that legitimate?
The officer can claim that she tried to remove the driver's gun for her own safety. Is that legitimate? The officer can claim that she tried to remove the driver's gun for her own safety. Is that legitimate? The officer can claim that she tried to remove the driver's gun for her own safety. Is that legitimate? The officer can claim that she tried to remove the driver's gun for her own safety. Is that legitimate? The officer can claim that she tried to remove the driver's gun for her own safety. Is that legitimate? The officer can claim that she tried to remove the driver's gun for her own safety. Is that legitimate? The officer can claim that she tried to remove the driver's gun for her own safety. Is that legitimate? The officer can claim that she tried to remove the driver's gun for her own safety. Is that legitimate? The officer can claim that she tried to remove the driver's gun for her own safety. Is that legitimate? The officer can claim that she tried to remove the driver's gun for her own safety. Is that
That is a legitimate question. It's a really interesting question. I could tell you this. She can claim that, but according to the attorney that we spoke with, she would have to explain her suspicion of danger. Now, the attorney says if she can't explain her suspicion of danger, then this is where you run into the lines of what would be considered an illegal seizure. In this case, she seized the gun, so that would be considered an illegal seizure. So again, she's going to have to explain what was the suspicion of danger.
All right, Eric Avanier reporting live for us tonight. Thank you, Eric.
Friday nights, don't run red lights in Duval County, more specifically Jacksonville, Florida. We're going to stay on the map for some outlandish foolishness as it pertains to the American government relating to American citizens. This man ran a red light, allegedly, according to these officers. Well, this needs to play out in court because obviously in the streets, justice can be served if you're asking rational-minded people. But if you're asking the American government and their minions, what followed after this alleged traffic infraction somehow is no crime. She pulled the gentleman over. He pulled over. He informed a lady cop that he had a gun. She asked him to get out of the car. He complied the entire time. She reached to take his weapon off and shot him in the leg. That's how we ended up here. Now, that's what the hell I thought this video was going to talk about, but this video talked about some other very interesting things. I'll start with two of the most obvious. One, I think this attorney did do a decent job. Dare I say, want to say great. The journalists, they did a fair job as well. The one thing that I think that the attorney veered toward American indoctrination about is when he said there's no law in Florida that you have to tell an officer you have a gun. I think at least over here in these communities, we're well aware of at least our basic constitutional rights. We don't have to tell them. We're going to get to some of the names later, probably, Lord forgive me, but we don't have to tell them anything, man. You don't have to talk to them. In Florida, yeah, what you should have said is in Florida, you're not obligated to hand them your documents because it may be different in other states. But there's nowhere in America where you're constitutionally not protected as it pertains to speaking to the cops. So you misspoke when you said in Florida as if Florida had some special privilege. Now, I'm glad he said that because I often tell my audience, hey, man, you got to watch these even seasoned and successful attorneys because they will give you indoctrinated advice. They won't give you, you're free as a human being and as an American advice. So you got to watch them too now. But let's get to this legal analyst, guys. I would tell you probably like 100 and 1,000% of the time when journalists bring in legal analysts, even when they employ them, that is a huge red flag to me because I'm sure you guys have sound minds, and you heard what this numbskull said in this video. He basically said, get out, pull your underwear down, and tell them, you know, what size drawers you wear. Sir, what is wrong with you? What the fuck? And then he didn't even try to hide it. He literally said these words, guys. You heard him too. That makes the officer feel like they have more control. Why is it okay in anyone's mind that any of these situations be about officers and them having control? No, obviously never mind. That was rhetorical. Now, why I have to redact some of my comments about the lawyer, and that's why I said dare I want to say great, because I knew that was something that stuck in my craw. I know I'm using some crazy-ass euphemism in this video, whatever, man. Y'all know I'm country as hell. Both of them failed, and even the journalists, to give the officers any advice. The civil rights attorney, he touched on it. He said, we've seen too many of these cases where officers overreact. They overreached their authority, but all of them failed. And this is the problem, guys. We have our special interest groups and we fail to tell them your ass needs to be corrected. We want everybody else to pander to whatever they're bringing to the table. In this case, it's control. The guy said it, but you know, they get there through the umbrella a lot of times of officer safety. And I always ask the question, if you have 2 lawful people here, 3 lawful people, like, I mean, y'all, they literally think they're more lawful because they wear those badges and uniforms, when in actuality, most times that's why they're more criminal, right? And they get away with being criminal, right? Okay. But if you have lawful people here, no matter what their careers are, why are any of the lawful people paranoid? Why are they bothered? You should see an ally. Cops don't see allies because they're not lawful. The motherfuckers is criminals, and they don't want nobody bringing that to anyone's attention. especially theirs. So they do all of this shucking and jiving. Let's get to the basics. This bitch shot this man on the side of the damn road because he possessed a legal firearm and he was lawfully complying with her lawful commands. We still don't know if that traffic stop was lawful. That was supposed to play out in court before you shot his ass. I think that's the end of the video, guys. This shit was outrageous, man. Most of these legal analysts are former LEO. That's why they get up there and give that LEO advice. This man said, roll down all your windows, man. You don't get your ass out of here, family. I'm at home tonight, guys. I got here a little earlier than I usually do, and so I'm gonna try to maybe there's another video out right now that some of you guys already seen. So try to drop these both at the same time, man, and maybe get in bed a little early tonight. Even when you line up with what they want you to do, you're somehow a threat, and their actual violence is somehow not terror. I wonder what would have happened had those roles. I actually thought about putting the video that describes, because I don't even know if it's out there, what the actual event on here, but for you newbies or the people just not paying attention, the print article link to that will be in the pinned comment and or description, so you can go there. I hope nobody has to tell anyone. There's no way in hell you gotta let no cop take your lawful weapon away from you. That's a violent, deadly threat. They create those hostile situations and then play victim. Your ass gonna have to. Thank you if you made it this far. If you liked the video, feel free to hit that thumbs up button. I greatly appreciate it. If you care to go a little further than that, maybe even subscribe, hit the notification bell. Check out a few of the other videos on the channel. Either way, y'all be safe.